Very good morning. It's just past 8 in the morning. We already have good news in sports in Olympics. Specifically, if we talk about India have won in hockey and they have entered the quarterfinals. India had beaten New Zealand in the first match. Tremendous performance by India against New Zealand, but they lost to Australia in the second match. They had defeated Spain, and now good news is they have defeated Argentina, who are defending champions. They had won gold medal in Rio Olympics. They have beaten them 3-1, and they'll meet Japan in the next match. But again, India have entered quarterfinals after 2000, after 21 years, and we all remember they had reached quarterfinals in Sydney Olympics. Can they do it now? When we were speaking with Manpreet Singh, India hockey captain, and the coach Graham Reid, they had said that possible chance of India finishing on the podium. Can they do it? And Rukmar, if you remember, in 1980 Olympics, India had last won a medal, gold. India have a very good history. We all know that. 6 consecutive gold medals, 8 gold medals in Olympics, 11 in total. Can they do it now? And India's likely opponents might be Belgium, Netherlands, maybe Great Britain or Germany. So it will be interesting to see whether India managed to go past the quarterfinals. And also we have PV Sindhu has won and entered in the quarterfinals, and in all the 3 games that she has played, she had won in straight games. So she is also looking in terrific form. She defeated Mia Blichfeld, who is world number 12. She had defeated her in the pre-quarterfinals, and she is expected to meet Naomi Okuhara, who is also a world number 5. It will be interesting to see whether she manages to go past her. All of that will give you details about the story. Correspondents will also be joining us. So it's a power-packed 1 hour. Over to you.
A very good morning to you, Abhishek, and to all our viewers as well. And as Abhishek just mentioned, it's a power news packed 1 hour ahead. We'll be focusing on especially on the Tokyo Games as our sportsmen and women find their feet finally, and in various disciplines. We also will be touching up on news from the nation, international stories, news from business, and much more. But first, here are the headlines.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the education community in the country today. Multiple key initiatives to be launched to mark the first anniversary of National Education Policy 2020.
Prime Minister interacts with representatives of religious and social organizations to discuss the COVID-19 situation. Urges them to spread awareness about vaccines, calls the help provided during the pandemic a shining example of Ek Bharat, Ek Nishtha Prayas.
In Parliament, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to present the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill 2021 in Rajya Sabha. Minister of Civil Aviation Jyotiraditya Scindia to move for consideration of the bill to amend the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Act 2008.
US economic recovery remains on track despite a rise in coronavirus infections. New policy statement of the Federal Reserve reflects confidence, higher inflation called a result of transitory factors and not an imminent risk to the economy.
Bangladesh records highest single-day COVID infections in a day with 15,230 new cases. On Wednesday, death toll crosses 20,000 despite strict lockdown imposed in the country.
Good news for India in the Olympics. India beat Argentina 3-1 in their 4th pool match, confirmed spot in the quarterfinals, while Indian shuttler PV Sindhu also enters quarterfinals after defeating world number 12 Mia Blichfeld.
Sri Lanka leveled the series 1-1 after winning the second T20I against India by 4 wickets. Third match to be played today.
And we begin with news of the Tokyo Olympics currently underway. The Indian men's hockey team has qualified for the quarterfinals, defeating Argentina 3-1. They will play their last match against Japan. Regardless of the result, India will stay at the second spot in Pool A. This marks back-to-back victories for India as they defeated Spain with the same score. Varun Kumar scored first for India, but his goal was cancelled by Argentina's Casella. However, India scored 2 late goals by Vivek Sagar Prasad and Harmanpreet Singh to ensure that they book a place in the quarterfinals after defeating Argentina.
In badminton, India's star badminton player PV Sindhu defeated Mia Blichfeld of Denmark 2-0 in the round of 16 and booked a place in the quarterfinals of women's singles event. Sindhu defeated Blichfeld 21-15, 21-13.
And in rowing, Arjun Lal and Arvind Singh finished 5th in the final B group, clocking 6:29.66, thus finishing 11th overall in the lightweight double sculls. This is India's best ever performance in rowing in the Olympics. Earlier best was Dattu Bhokanal, who finished 13th at the Rio Olympics in 2016.
And good news for Indian archery also. Atanu Das has moved into second round with a 6-4 win over Taipei archer. Atanu defeated Chinese Taipei's Yu Cheng Deng 6-4 to win the 132nd elimination match. Atanu will face South Korea's Oh Jin-yak in round of 16 in second round. Right, in hockey, we have won. We have entered the quarterfinals. We have done well in badminton also, and we are fairly doing well in archery also. My colleague Ashok Martolia is joining us live to discuss more on this. Ashok, first of all, if we talk about hockey, how big is this win against Argentina? We all know they are the defending champions, Rio Olympic gold medalist. How big is this win? Because we had won the first match, we started on a good note against New Zealand, but the way we lost against Australia 1-7, and to come back and defeating Spain by a fairly good margin and then beating Argentina today.
Yes, Abhishek, it looks like the Indian athletes in Tokyo, they are gradually picking up the momentum. Yesterday, if we talk about India's performance in Tokyo, Praveen Jadhav, he upset world number 2 in archery, and Deepika, she won 2 classification round yesterday. So Indian athletes are doing good. And if we talk about today's performance, the way we defeated defending champion Argentina, in 2 quarters, India penetrated the circle penetration about 16 times. So that itself says that how good our hockey players are performing in Tokyo Olympics. We have a very rich history in Olympic, Abhishek, 8-time gold medalist, but after 1980 we could not make it for the finals. But this time it looks like India team is going to make a podium finish. But again, that we will have to continue that performance in the Tokyo. It's really good, the way we defeated Argentina. Argentina is a reigning Olympic champion. So definitely this will, bring a kind of morale boost to Indian contingent in hockey. Next, we have to play next to the Japan. But we have several times we defeated Japan in hockey. So I think this, especially if we talk about today's match, it's a big morale boosting for Indian hockey team.
Yeah,
right.
indeed. Go ahead, Rukma. It's indeed it's a morale boosting win for India. But again, Ashok, how many times these things happen? No, I mean India could not qualify for Olympics in 2008. We all know 2012 we had finished last at the 12th position, and in the last Olympics also at Rio we had finished 8th. And now where we stand, we have beaten the defending champions Argentina, and we are left with one match against Japan, although it's a very important match for Japan. But again, even if we don't win, we'll finish second in the Pool A. Very, very morale boosting win this is for India. And like you said, can India break the 41-year-old jinx? We all know that India had won the Olympics medal last in Olympics in hockey 41 years ago in Moscow Olympics. Manpreet Singh, Ashok, when we spoke to him, he looked very, very confident, and also the coach Graham Reed. Realistically, are we finishing on the podium, or it's too early to say? Because India will play either Belgium, Netherlands, Germany or England. These are not easy matches.
Exactly, Abhishek. Then that depends upon how we perform against Japan.
Yeah.
So I think if we talk about India's performance last 2 years in hockey, then we are playing very good. We have defeated several top players. India is currently world number 4. So I think there are few teams like Australia, Germany and Spain and the Netherlands. These are the players which we always have a difficulty to play against. But this time, the way the Indian hockey team is playing in Tokyo and last 2-3 performance was very good. So I'm hopeful that India will able to make a podium finish. But that's depend upon how we perform against the strong teams like Australia and Germany. So that also depend upon in the pool B which team we will face. Like there are Germany, there are several top players. So we will have to play the same game the way today perform against the top players.
Right, Ashok, and coming to PV Sindhu, no big surprise there, her defeating Blichfeld. But tell us about, briefly about the highlights of the match. What was it that was visible? What is it that will be remembered? And also the road ahead for her.
Well, Rukma, PV Sindhu played very well today. She is a big match player. She is last 2016, she won the silver medal. But again, these first 2-3 rounds is not very difficult for PV Sindhu because there were less ranking players. But now she have to face, if she want to win a medal in Tokyo Olympic, then there are three players one is Nozomi Okuhara from Japan. She's a very deceptive player, and 2016 she won bronze medal. And Taiji Ying from Chinese Taipei. She's also very strong opponent against PV Sindhu, and Ratchanok Intanon from Thailand. I think these 3 players she have to keep in mind how she perform against these 3 players, because Caroline Murray is not playing this time in Tokyo Olympics, so she has a fairly good chance to win the medal again in Olympics.
Right.
Absolutely. If I add one more name to it, Akane Yamaguchi, she's also a very deceptive player. So it will be interesting to see. She is likely to face Nozomi Okuhara in the quarterfinals. It will be interesting to see whether she go past her or not. Thank you, Ashok. Thank you for giving us your vital inputs.
And well, that's all we have time for as far as the Olympics are concerned. But do catch up with us in our regular sports bulletins during the day. And now moving on.
Yeah. Let's move on to national stories now.
Well, the National Education Policy 2020 is the guiding philosophy for changing the learning landscape, making education holistic and building a strong foundation for a self-reliant India. Upon the completion of 1 year of the NEP 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch an array of initiatives aimed at realizing the goals of the National Education Policy 2020. A detailed report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to address policymakers in the domain of education and skill development on Thursday. The event will mark the completion of 1 year of reforms under the National Education Policy 2020. The Prime Minister will also launch multiple initiatives in the education sector in the presence of students and teachers from across the country. This is the first education policy of the 21st century and replaces the 34-year-old National Policy on Education 1986. The Prime Minister will launch the Academic Bank of Credit that will provide multiple entry and exit options for students in higher education, first-year engineering programs in regional languages and guidelines for internationalization of higher education. The initiatives to be launched also include Vidya Pravesh, a 3-month play-based school preparation module for grade 1 students, Indian Sign Language as a subject at secondary level, Nishtha 2.0, an integrated program of teacher training designed by NCERT, Safal or structured assessment for analyzing learning levels, a competency-based assessment framework for grades 3, 5 and 8 in CBSE schools, and a website dedicated to artificial intelligence. Further, the event will witness the launch of National Digital Education Architecture or NDEAR and National Education Technology Forum or NETF. These initiatives will mark a significant step towards realization of the goals of the National Education Policy 2020 and will make the education sector more vibrant and accessible. Built on the foundational pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability and accountability, this policy is aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. NEP 2020 also aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, suited to 21st century needs and aimed at bringing out the unique capabilities of each student. Bureau Report, DD India.
Right, so significant steps towards realization of the goals of National Education Policy 2020. Our colleague Arun Sharma joins us live to give us more information on this. Arun, very good morning to you. First of all, PM Modi will address the policy makers in the domain of education and skill development today, and he will also launch multiple initiatives in the education sector.
Good morning, Abhishek. Good morning, Rukma. Good morning, all our viewers. Indeed, today is going to be a very significant day as far as the education sector is concerned. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to launch approximately 10 initiatives related to the national education policy. Now, we know this fact that when we talk about the national education policy, it is based on 5 pillars: access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Now, the focus of these 10 initiatives are to boost the education infrastructure of our country. And if you look at the initiatives that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to launch today, the top highlights are new Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be launching the academic credit, or the academic bank for credit. Now, this is going to be very much important for those students who wants to follow their dreams, follow their passion. If in case they want to drop the education in between and they want to switch to another field or any other stream, the credit score will remain over there in the academic bank. So this gives a major push to the students who wants to pursue their dream, their passion. If they want to change the stream, and if in case they want to come back and join back their academics, they can again come back to the academics and start from where they have dropped. So this academic bank credit is going to be very much significant. Now, the Indian Sign Language will be the part of the subject in the secondary classes now. So this is going to be a game changer as far as sign languages are concerned. Now, there will be organized subject primarily as far as sign language is concerned. Most importantly, when we talk about the artificial intelligence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be launching the artificial intelligence, the AI website, for the awareness purposes as well. So this will be propagated into tier 2 town, small villages as well. Now, Vidya Pravesh, again, it's a game changer as far as the toddlers are concerned, the school children in the first grade are concerned, because a play and learn method will be adopted as far as Vidya Pravesh is concerned. So this will ensure that how can right from the beginning the foundation can be can be strengthened right from the beginning. So close to 10 initiatives like this will be launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the idea is that how can this entire ecosystem of the education sector that can be strengthened. That's number one. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be directly interacting with various stakeholders, policymakers, teachers, students of various schools and all these stakeholders primarily of the national education policy. We know this fact that in last 3.5 decades, we had no new education policy. So in this 21st century, when India has got its new education policy, in this 21st century, when we have got this new education policy, this is going to be the game changer. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi knows this fact that India, if in case wants to become Atmanirbhar, if in case India wants to become the knowledge hub, or a global knowledge hub primarily, this education policy will play an important role. And that's the reason when India completes, or the national education policy has completed its first year, his interaction is going to be very much significant, and his vision for the national education policy is also going to be very much significant.
Right, Arun, as you said, it's a much needed reform. Provisions provide for much needed reforms in every section of education, whether it is the elementary section or a middle school or higher school, primary school, in every segment, in every stage of a child's learning. It's been 34 years in waiting. The stress in this system, as you said, is on the child's interests, passions, developing those, also preparing the child for the real world at every stage, the multiple entry and exit points and so on. Also, a lot of stress has been given on vocational and experiential learning. Take us through that. Also, the stress on classical languages, on Sanskrit to be available, on learning, in the mother tongue.
Absolutely, Rukma. So let's focus on the languages part now. Till now, primarily, when the education policy was not there, the new national education policy was not there. At that point in time, English, Hindi, or any state-specific language was only given prominence as far as the school curriculum activity is concerned, or the mode of education is concerned. But now the linguistic aspect is going to be very much strong, because now focus is on the regional languages as well. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be launching this regional languages and the subject and education in the regional languages. Now this is going to be game changer. Why? Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi and of course this new or the national education policy believes in the fact that education is important. The language is not important. Till now, much focus was on only English language, Hindi language, or any state-specific language. But yes, now the focus will be on the regional languages as well. So that's number one. Number two, this national education policy focuses much on the practical knowledges, the hands-on experiences. And that's the reason when we look at the primary school or the secondary school, the much emphasis will be given on the practical aspect of the education purposes. Not only theoretical knowledge, but yes, the focus will be on the practical knowledge. And of course, the hands-on experience will be given to the students of a primary school and of course the secondary school as well. Importantly, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be launching the initiatives like National Digital Education Architecture and National Technology Education Forum. Now, these two forums will ensure that how can digital aspect and the technological aspect can be introduced into the curriculum so that the students can gear up to the skill development aspect, the digital India aspect, and of course they can upgrade themselves digitally and technologically. So this is going to be very much important as far as practical knowledge is concerned, the hands-on experiences are concerned. Languages like Sanskrit and various other regional languages as well will be given much more emphasis on as far as this national education policy is concerned. So all in all, when we talk about this launching of this close to 10 initiatives, that includes the credit bank for the academics, that includes sign language as a subject in the secondary school, initiatives like Vidya Pravesh, initiative like Safal. Now, Safal is going to be very much important for the teachers as well, because it will be an integrated course designed by NCIT, whereby a training module are designed as far as the Safal project is concerned, whereby teachers can get trained themselves and in an online mode, and they can upgrade themselves, they can upgrade their education, they can upgrade their skill set while registering on this Safal application or the Safal project. So this is an online course which you can do from anywhere as far as this application is concerned or this project is concerned. So these initiatives will ensure that how can an entire ecosystem can be upgraded. That means students, teachers and schools of our country can be upgraded so that a better education ecosystem can be designed for the 21st century.
Absolutely. Complete change, complete overhaul in the education sector replaces the 34-year-old national education policy. Thank you, Arun. Thank you for giving us your precious time.
Moving on now.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held an interaction with representatives of religious and social organizations to discuss the COVID-19 situation on Wednesday via video conferencing. Prime Minister said that the interaction is yet another example of society and government working together for the benefit of the country. He appreciated the work done by these organizations towards meeting the challenges posed by COVID-19. He said that the help provided to people was beyond caste or religious considerations and was a shining example of Ek Bharat, Ek Nisht Prayas. Across the country, temples, mosques, churches and gurudwaras doubled up as hospitals and isolation centers while also helping the needy get food and medicines, he said. Prime Minister discussed the rapid rollout of the vaccination drive in the country, adding that the Sabko Vaccine, Muft Vaccine campaign is like a shield in the fight against corona. He exhorted the religious and community leaders to join the efforts of the government by helping spread awareness about vaccination and help combat rumors and confusions about the vaccines. He asked them to work in collaboration with the government, especially in areas where there is high vaccine hesitancy. This will go a long way in helping our health workers reach out to each and every citizen. Prime Minister also asked the leaders to be a part of the celebration of 75 years of independence. He asked them to ensure that everyone becomes a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. He said that on this occasion we should work towards uniting the entire length and breadth of the nation through a Bharat Jodo Andolan and showcase the true spirit of Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. The leaders thanked the Prime Minister for organizing the interaction and lauded his decisive leadership in the fight against the pandemic.
And in the Rajya Sabha today, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill 2021 as passed by the Lok Sabha for consideration and passing. Meanwhile, in the Lok Sabha, Union Minister of Civil Aviation Jyotiraditya Scindia will move the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. Apart from this, Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways Sarbananda Sonowal will move the Inland Vessels Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. The bill aims to promote economical and safe transportation and trade through inland waters, to bring in uniformity in application of law relating to inland waterways and navigation within the country, to provide for safety of navigation, protection of life and cargo, besides others.
And quick update on Olympics again. Atanu Das has defeated third seed South Korean Oh Jin-yek to book a spot in the round of 16, and this is big, and South Koreans are considered to be the dominant force in archery, and this is big. Atanu Das has beaten the Korean qualifier. Moving on to our next story, the Election Commission has begun preparations for 2022 assembly polls in 5 states including UP and Punjab. Chief Election Commissioner yesterday held meeting with Election Commissioners of Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Elections are going to be held in these states early next year. Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra in his address said that transparency and impartiality are the hallmark of the election process. He added that issues and challenges may be different in each state, but election planning needs to have a voter-centric approach and participative decision-making involving all stakeholders. The Commission also stressed on the need to get the voters list prepared on time. CEC also said that states should learn and adopt innovations and best practices in election management from the poll-gone states or other states' UTs. He also emphasized on the need for rationalization of polling stations, keeping in view the COVID-19 pandemic, and reiterated the need to have basic facilities and infrastructure in all polling stations.
And India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has achieved the landmark milestone of 45 crores. Nearly 40 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the last 24 hours. Over 15 crore 38 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the age group 18 to 44 so far.
Minister of Health and Family Welfare Mansukh Mandavia yesterday addressed 11th BRICS Health Ministers meeting and highlighted the need for digitized health transformation for betterment of people. Addressing the event, the minister said that the collaborative efforts of BRICS nations can definitely lead the world to fight the COVID-19 pandemic with one world, one health approach.
And the death toll in Maharashtra has risen to 213, while 8 people are still reported missing in the flood-affected areas of Ratnagiri, Satara, Thane, Sindhudurg, Kolhapur and Pune. 4,35,879 people have been evacuated from the affected villages. 16 teams of the NDRF and 2 teams of the Army have been deployed. Meanwhile, the state government, after the cabinet meeting, announced that relief to the landslide and flood-hit victims will be provided as per the norms of the State Disaster Response Fund. It also decided to provide immediate assistance, including an amount of 10,000 rupees each to those affected. Maharashtra Energy Minister Dr. Nitin Raut will visit the Konkan region today to assess the damage caused due to the floods. 80% of power restoration work has been completed. And he said the government is also providing solar lamps at places where power is yet to be restored.
In Jammu and Kashmir, the water level has increased in the Chenab River in Doda district due to heavy rainfall. Accordingly, Deputy Commissioner Ramban has advised people not to venture anywhere near river banks of all water bodies. The Reasi district administration has also sounded alert in the area adjoining Chenab. Deputy Commissioner Reasi imposed Section 144 around River Chenab and other rivers in the district. Meanwhile, general public has been cautioned by Salal Power Station that all the residents living along the river bank should not go near the river and also do not allow their cattle, animals to go into the river bed.
During the intervening night of 27th and 28th of July, a cloudburst was witnessed in Honzar Dachan area of Kishtwar. 19 residential houses were completely damaged and 2 homes were partially damaged. 21 cowsheds were also destroyed. The incident has claimed the lives of 7, while 17 others have been reported injured. Police teams came into the spot soon after information spread about the incident. An army column and SDRF teams are also working in rescue operations. 6 persons are being treated in the district hospital at Kishtwar. ADGP Mukesh Singh and Divisional Commissioner Jammu Division Dr. Raghav Langar in Kishtwar reviewed the situation. The Jammu and Kashmir government has announced compensation to the victims. An ex gratia of 5 lakh rupees will be given to the next of kin of those who have lost their lives, while the grievously injured would be given 50,000 rupees. In addition, 12,700 rupees under SDRF will also be disbursed. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha said that J&K government will do everything possible to support and protect the affected families.
5 ही इंजर्ड की रिपोर्ट है जिनको यहाँ शिफ्ट करने की ज़रूरत थी. उनमें से 3 यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हो गए, उनमें से 1 जम्मू रेफर हो गया. 2 अभी पीछे ही हैं, उसके लिए हमने 2 गाड़ियाँ वहाँ पे रखी हैं लास्ट पॉइंट जहाँ तक गाड़ी जाती है. जैसे मौसम ठीक होता है, अगर उनको रिट्रीव किया जाता है तो उनको इमीडिएटली शिफ्ट किया जाएगा. होपफुली एवरीथिंग विल बी फाइन. स्पेशल टीम हमने एक स्टैंड बाई बना के रखी है, वो BMO किश्तवाड़ के थ्रू हमने एक बनाई थी. एज एंड व्हेन रिक्वायर्ड उनको हम मोबिलाइज कर लेंगे.
Meanwhile, Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Yatra track is fine and it is going on smoothly. According to CEO Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board, Ramesh Kumar, Shrine Board has made all arrangements in view of the weather forecast.
Now let's go across to our correspondent Ramesh Raina, who is joining us live. Ramesh, relief and rescue operation on at full swing, and a cloudburst was witnessed in Honzar Dachin area of Kishtwar. What latest can you tell us?
Good morning, Abhishek. This tragedy took place last night, and immediately after that, rescue teams were rushed there. Since this area is very inaccessible and remote area, so it took some time for the relief for these teams to reach there. But till last evening, teams were there. But when this tragedy struck, local police was there, and some army columns they rushed there and they started the rescue operation. And till last night, 7 dead bodies were recovered. We are having 17 injured persons. Out of them, five are serious. They were shifted to district hospital Kiswar, and from there one person was shifted to Government Medical College Jammu for this treatment. I can tell you that as of now, the rescue and the relief rescue operation going on war footing. Additional Director General of Police Mukesh Singh and Divisional Commissioner Jammu Region Dr. Raghu Langar, they rushed to Kishtwar yesterday and reached there late last evening, and they reviewed the situation there. What I can tell you that relief teams have reached relief teams and revenue teams have reached the affected village, and senior officers are there. Then they are supervising all the relief and rescue operations there.
Right, Ramesh. Well, so rescue operations on in full swing, as you've delineated so well. Talking about the weather, does it continue to pose a challenge for the rescue operations? Also, what are the alerts that are being provided and the precautions that are being taken right now?
Yeah, Rukma, since this area is very remote and a hilly area, and I tell you that from the last couple of days, entire Jammu region is having rainfall. And this Kishtwar and Doda district from the last 4 to 5 days, the district was experiencing heavy rainfall, and all the rivers in Jammu region, like river Chenab, it is flowing above the danger mark, and district administration Ramban and Riyasi, they have issued an alert. In Jammu region, there is Akhnur. There also the water level was rising very alarmingly, and there is an alert. In fact, in entire Jammu division, there is an alert that people should not go to near to the river areas, and people have been asked to stay indoors and not to venture out. Lukman.
Absolutely, people are advised to stay at home and not move close to any river and forecast that you have already told us. Thank you for bringing us up to speed on the cloudburst in Kishtwar. Thank you, Ramesh.
Moving on now.
The Indian Air Force formally inducted Rafale aircraft into number 101 Squadron at Air Force Station Hasimara in Eastern Air Command yesterday. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria, presided over the induction ceremony. The event also included a flypast heralding the arrival of Rafale aircraft to Hasimara, followed by a traditional water cannon salute. Addressing the personnel during the induction ceremony, CAS said that the induction of Rafale had been carefully planned at Hasimara, keeping in mind the importance of strengthening IAF's capability in the eastern sector. Recalling the glorious history of 101 Squadron, which bestowed upon them the title of Falcons of Cham and Akhnur, CAS urged the personnel to combine their zeal and commitment with the unmatched potential of the newly inducted platform. He said that he had no doubt that the squadron would dominate whenever and wherever required and ensure that the adversary would always be intimidated by their sheer presence. 101 Squadron is the second IAF squadron to be equipped with Rafale aircraft. The squadron was formed on 1st May 1949 at Palam and has operated Howard, Spitfire, Vampire, Su-7 and MiG-21M aircraft. In the past, the glorious history of this squadron includes active participation in 1965 and 1971 Indo-Pak wars.
A 7-member special investigation team has been formed to probe the extortion charges levelled against former Mumbai Police Commissioner Paramveer Singh. The team will be headed by DCP Nimit Goyal from the local arms department and Assistant Commissioner of Police Mohammad Mujawar from the Deonar division. Paramveer Singh and 5 others have been accused of allegedly extorting 2 crore rupees in a case filed by the Thane police. Notably, multiple complaints of corruption and violation of SC/ST acts have been filed against Paramveer Singh in different police stations.
8 asteroids detected by 16 students of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas under the Khagolshala Asteroid Research Campaign 2021 were conferred the provisional status by the International Astronomical Search Collaboration. Khagolshala Asteroid Search Campaign trains students to detect asteroids. The campaign is an initiative of the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India and Space Foundation.
Discovering a new planet or having an extraterrestrial object like an asteroid named after them perhaps tops the wish list of many astronomy enthusiasts, including school students. Khagolshala Asteroid Search Campaign has been brought exclusively for the students of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya by the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor in collaboration with Space Foundation. 16 students from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya discovered 9 asteroids as part of the campaign. This is the first time that students of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya have made a confirmed discovery of asteroids. These discoveries have been confirmed by the International Astronomical Search Collaboration, Hardin-Simmons University, Texas, and International Astronomical Union.
It's a very proud moment for me because I was able to make a provisional discovery of an asteroid on an international scientific platform by Khagolshala Asteroid Search Campaign initiated by Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India and Space Foundation. My discovery was confirmed by International Astronomical Search Collaboration and International Astronomical Union, and it's my aim to become a space scientist and serve my country India in the field of space science and technology.
I am able to make the provisional discoveries of 2 asteroids at an international scientific platform under Khagolshala Asteroid Search Campaign. Once its trajectory will be confirmed after it will be tracked for a minimum of 6 years, and I am happy to wait for it.
भारतीय बच्चों के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी की इंस्पिरेशन हमें डॉक्टर के विजय राघवन, प्रिंसिपल साइंटिफिक एडवाइजर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से मिली। उन्होंने हमसे कहा कि हम अलग अलग स्कूलों में जाकर के एस्ट्रोनॉमी और स्पेस एजुकेशन लैब्स लगाएं, और हमने खगोलशाला नाम के एक प्रोजेक्ट को स्टार्ट किया। उसमें बच्चों को इस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटीज, इक्विपमेंट और स्किल सेट दिया गया ताकि वो यूनिवर्स को देख करके उसमें से साइंस डिराइव कर सकें। और इन खगोलशालाओं के लगने के पहले साल में ही भारत को इतनी बड़ी उपलब्धि मिली है कि इन बच्चों ने 9 नए शुद्ध ग्रह ढूंढ दिए।
These asteroids will be tracked for a minimum of 6 years to calculate their orbit and trajectory. Once the orbit is confirmed, students will get the opportunity to name them. Students got access to the real-time data from the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System Telescope located in Hawaii.
इंटरनेशनल एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल सर्च कोलैबोरेशन को, जिन्होंने हमारी रिक्वेस्ट पे इन बच्चों को अपॉर्चुनिटी दी, और करीब 400 टीमों ने इस प्रोजेक्ट में पार्टिसिपेट किया, जिसमें से ये डिस्कवरीज निकल करके आए।
The students also got exclusive access to astronomy images, training on advanced data analysis and software to hunt for the asteroids which are otherwise not accessible till the postgraduate level, all of which builds up to an invaluable real-time research experience. Tapush Bhattacharya's report, TD India.
And let's move on now to our next segment for some business news in BizBuzz. The US economic recovery remains on track despite a rise in corona infections, as stated by the Central Bank of the United States. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday, in its new policy statement, reflected confidence and flagged ongoing talks around the eventual withdrawal of monetary policy support. The Fed's policy statement was issued after the end of a 2-day policy meeting. In a news conference following the release of the statement, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the US job market still had some ground to cover before it would be time to pull back from economic support. The central bank also said that higher inflation remained the result of transitory factors. The Fed also kept its overnight benchmark interest rate near zero and left unchanged its bond buying program.
And the stocks at the Wall Street held steady on Wednesday after the Federal Reserve hinted that it was getting closer to curtailing a key asset purchasing program that has helped juice the US economic recovery. The S&P 500 ended with little change and slipped by 0.1% after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the central bank was still ways away from considering raising interest rates. The Nasdaq ended sharply higher with shares of Google parent Alphabet Inc. hitting an all-time high. The Dow Jones also pared losses. Investors have bet on strong corporate earnings, the economic rebound and continued support from central banks' easy monetary policies.
And some international news now in across the world. We begin by taking a look at COVID updates from across the globe. The world continues to battle the virus with more than 19 crore 66 lakh people testing positive so far, while the recovery numbers has crossed 17 crore 80 lakhs. The deadly virus has claimed the lives of 42 lakh people globally. The United States remains the worst affected by the pandemic, with more than 3 crore 54 people so far having been infected. Over 6,28,000 deaths due to the virus have been reported in the US.
And Bangladesh continues to report high number of new COVID-19 cases despite lockdown in the country entered its sixth day on Wednesday. A record number of 15,230 new COVID-19 cases and 237 deaths were reported in the country on Wednesday. Total deaths in the country due to COVID-19 has now surpassed 20,000. Active cases in Bangladesh now stands at over 1.54 lakh. The sample positivity rate also rose to 30.12% on Wednesday from 28.44% on Tuesday. Testing in the country continues in full pace. More than 50,000 samples have been tested daily for the last 3 consecutive days. And also, senior Awami leader and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Ubaidul Qadir said COVID-19 situation in Bangladesh is getting worse due to negligence of many people. He said if the situation continues, an unexpected disaster situation may emerge.
Numerous US federal agencies on Wednesday have mandated masks at federal buildings in COVID-19 hotspots, in line with instructions issued by the White House Office of Management and Budget. The move followed guidance issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Tuesday that vaccinated people should wear masks indoors in areas where substantial or high COVID-19 community transmission exists. The White House has further said that masks are required indoors as well in federal buildings for all employees and visitors, whether they are vaccinated or not in those areas. On Wednesday, CDC said nearly 67% of US counties were at those substantial or high transmission rates, up from 63.4% on Tuesday.
And England will allow fully vaccinated visitors from the European Union and United States without quarantine from next week. The UK Transport Minister said on Wednesday that the decision aims to boost for airlines and travel companies. The UK government said that from 2nd August, travellers with US and EU approved vaccines would not have to quarantine. The opening up of England would likely be followed by the rest of the United Kingdom. Travellers will, however, still have to take a COVID-19 test before departure and soon after arrival in England. Moreover, the US remains shut to British visitors, so for the transatlantic carriers like British Airways and Virgin Atlantic, planes will primarily be carrying US citizens to England.
And it's time now for the web review.
While our colleague Preeti has joined us for the web news review segment. Good morning, Preeti, over to you.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, and good morning to our viewers and Lokman Abhishek as well. When we talk of the press review, most of the social media portals are leading with the Prime Minister's program when we talk of MEP completing one yesterday. But added to that, I pick up this news report coming in from the Indian Express. It talks of IMD warning of heavy rains over 15 states till August 1st. Now we see that the ongoing heavy rainfall has crossed many states. Because of that, landslides and floods have also occurred in those respective states. Also, the paper says heavy rainfall activity over Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh will persist till Friday, after which the intensity is expected to reduce. Added to that, Konkan, Goa and Madhya Pradesh will also experience heavy rainfall, and adding to that, central India will also experience heavy to very heavy rainfall. Adding to that, the paper says that the Met Office has warned of isolated extremely rain over Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, and also at the same time over Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. It also said that it is happening because of the influence of cyclonic circulation line over North Pakistan and adjoining Punjab. With that, I'll pick up the next slide. The next slide up your screens is again from the Indian Express. It gets an update. Saudi announces 3-year travel ban for citizens visiting red list countries that includes India as well. Now, Saudi Arabia has enlisted 15 countries and has barred its citizens from visiting these countries. These countries are UAE, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, Turkey, Armenia, Ethiopia, Somalia, Congo, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Belarus, India, and Vietnam. And it has also imposed, and it also has said that strict action will be taken against people who are traveling to these red list countries in wake of the COVID pandemic. The next the next slide up your screens is coming in from the Mint. The Mint says RBI has allowed RTGS and NEFT payments systems open for non-banks in phases. Now, the paper spells out the details. It says the RBI has said that prepaid payments instrument, that is PPI issued card networks, white label ATM operators are eligible to participate in the CPS via RTGS and also the NEFT systems in the first phase. And it also has said, RBI Neutral had already said that non-banks would be allowed to access the CPS to RTGS and NEFT as well in a phased manner. But till now, banks were allowed to use only RTGS and NEFT payments, and now non-bank institutions will also be allowed to use NEFT and RTGS. With that, I'll end this test review here. It's back to Abhishek and Rukma for the rest of the break.
All right, very detailed web review by you, Preeti. Thank you so much.
And it's time now for the weather forecast. Let's take a look at the weather report. The satellite picture shows the well-marked low pressure area seen over coastal Bangladesh and adjoining West Bengal, and associated cyclonic circulation extending up to mid-tropospheric levels. It is likely to move westwards across West Bengal, Jharkhand and Bihar in the next 48 hours. The current spell of widespread rainfall activity with isolated heavy to very heavy falls very likely to continue over Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh till the 30th of July, and reduction thereafter. Isolated extremely heavy falls likely over Uttarakhand in the next 24 hours. Fairly widespread to widespread rainfall with isolated heavy to very heavy falls likely over Odisha, Gangetic, West Bengal, Jharkhand and Bihar from 29 to 30th July, and over East Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh from 29 to 31st July. Isolated extremely heavy falls likely over Gangetic, West Bengal. And time now to take a look at temperature in your city.
Right, so it's time for a wrap, but before we go, it's a reminder to wear a face mask before you step out of your house and follow COVID appropriate behavior. And remember, if you are eligible for the vaccination, go and get yourself vaccinated. Cases might be declining, but we cannot afford to lower our guard.
Very true. The fight against COVID-19 continues. And as always, as we go, we'll leave you with some glimpses to make your day all that much better. Today, we bring to you glimpses of over 3,000 black bucks seen crossing the road in Bhavnagar's Black Buck National Park. Take a look and enjoy. Namaskar. Have a great day.